the board meeting, or any of the stuff that came out from the board meeting, all that negative bull crap that we hear. Like, why we need a all women movie? Why we need black people movies? Like,
that was a lot more than negativity. That was blatant racism and sexism.
Yeah,
I know. Let's keep it 100.
Hey, this could be a guy who's going to be putting his people in place to run Disney.
Yep, man. She'll put a video out about it, and so it's a proxy war going on in Disney. Just a quick thing. And you're talking about Nelson Peltz is his name.
Yes.
And he said that. He goes, why do you need an all-black movie? Why do you need an all-woman movie? Right? And then you had the people coming out, they're like, well, Black Panther isn't all black. Like, that's not the point. The point is, like, black-led. Like, I get what he was saying. He's an old 80-year-old man, like, whatever, But I get what he was saying, and you just, like, saying, like, oh, well, it's not all black or all female. Like, it's a shitty argument. That's not a good enough argument.
No, I think it's a terrible thing to even say, because
it is.
You do need things that are for everybody.
Exactly.
Not everything has to be 100% white male generated. Like, you don't need that always.
Yeah.
You can have. Look, we had 3 movies that headline women out in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 37 movies they had, 3 were headlining women.
Yeah.
So that was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's 2 movies that led black people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
and one's a sequel of the first.
It's only one character, like, and then you don't even give us the character we want.
Yeah.
Plus that dude's
fuck that.
Plus that dude's daughter is Nicola Peltz from the last Airbender movie. His daughter played a his very white daughter played a traditionally Asian character. What's he bitching about?
But the thing is too, he was involved on that.
Mm-hmm.
His company was his Triad, I think it's called Triad. They helped give money to the producers to get it filmed, and like it's kind of like under the table thing, but the rumor is he was like, you're gonna put my daughter in this movie, and that's what kind of started the whitewashing. I don't know if it already started or if it was just part of it for sure, but the dude I don't like everything that's going on over there. And I think I was watching Chill's stream, and that's why I was like kind of confused what he was going at, because at one point he goes, oh, because this guy's all about money, that he would have like recasted T'Challa. I was like, no. If this guy's in charge, we would never get T'Challa, because the guy behind Nelson Peltz.
You might have got T'Challa, but he might have been a white guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but so the guy that started the proxy war is Peltz, but the guy behind him that pushed Triad to start is Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter. He was a former guy at Disney. He used to be with Marvel and stuff like that, and he owns 80% of Triad, that company that's trying to, the investment company. He owns 80% of it, so he pretty much is the boss, without being the boss, kind of thing. When he worked for Disney, he worked kind of above Kevin Feige, and he was kind of he was the penny pincher guy, right? He was like, no, we can't. Basically. Pretty much. So he was like the penny pincher, though. So he's like, you can't do this, you can't do that. We got to watch this. The bottom line, which is fine thing to have. You always need somebody to kind of like, hey, maybe we don't spend $1 billion on this movie. I get it, but he didn't think Black Panther and Captain Marvel were profitable franchises. He's like, no one wants to see a black character on screen. No one wants to see a woman main character on screen. And he was part of blocking it. And Feige pretty much went to Bob Iger. He's like, either I leave or you fire him.
It's exactly said.
And they fired him.
He went and said, I will walk away if this guy's still here.
Because he's getting in the way of my like creative juice, flow. So they fired him. And ever since the dude has had like a vendetta against Disney. So he's behind it, Nelson Peltz, and then you have the other guy that's running for the other board member is also the former Disney CFO. That he should have been in charge instead of Bob Chapek. So after Bob Chapek came in charge, he wound up stepping down because he's pissed off that he got looked over. So now, like, this whole thing is this like revenge for fucking effing me over type of thing, So
it's not just that, because it is still does still have racist bigotry and all that still wrapped up into it, and that's one of the biggest things that happened in Marvel. I want to read exactly what he said. So he said, when pressed if that means Kevin Feige should be fired, Peltz added, I'm not ready to say that, but I question his record. People go and watch a movie or a show to be entertained. They don't go to get a message. Why do I have to have a Marvels that's all women? Not that I have anything against women, but why do I have to do that? Why can't I have Marvels that are both? Why do I need an all black cast?
No.
When someone who's against stuff says stuff like that, it's dripping with it. And and I think you do need to outline it, and you do need to say that's effed up, because of those movies, once again, 30 of the movies are exactly what you want. White male-led characters.
Yep. 2
black, 3 women, and then there's some ensemble that have a couple of other people in it. They're still led by white male people.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean? Why do we have both? That's exactly what they had, and they had to fight to get those 3. So, I mean, I just think that's ridiculous. I don't like it at all, and I feel it's becoming more and more acceptable, especially coming out of Florida. I don't like that. It's crazy.
But also, his what he says doesn't make any sense. Just on a financial level, if you want to be one of those assholes and like, well, it's not about race. Like, okay, first of all, you're stupid and you're blind. But if you want to talk about just money, how does that even make sense? Black Panther, over $1 billion. I think it's like the 6th overall highest grossing movie in America of all time.
1.7 billion.
1.7. Yeah, it's insane. Captain Marvel, another $1 billion movie. Black Panther 2, if whether you like it or not, it still made almost 900 million, 800 and something, which is
it made a ton.
I don't like it. It made $900 million. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So right there you go. Like, really a lot of money.
T'Challa, you would have had 1.5.
Yeah. Well, easily. I think so. But then you get into that. But then you by saying that, you're saying, oh, every white-led, male-led movie is like a home run. I'm like, really? Because Iron Man 2 wasn't, Iron Man 3 wasn't, Thor Love and Thunder wasn't, Ant-Man wasn't, and
the
like
first 2 Thors.
The first 2 Thors really weren't that good, So it's like you have white male-led movies that aren't good, and there's always a message. It's a movie. There's always gonna be some kind of message, whether it be superficial, like, oh, this is the right thing to do. Bad guys that want to be fascist suck, or if you want to get into something a little bit more depth, when it comes to like race and like gender equality or stuff like that, like there's always a message.
Here's my worry. Someone like that leading Disney during the time of X-Men.
Yep.
That would be almost criminal for what X-Men really was, what it's really about. But you can see it. I mean, there's arguments all the time that don't believe that X-Men was really about, during the Civil Rights Movement, what's really about. That argument's always there.
Yeah.
But that's what you have. You have people, a variety of cultures, a variety of different people being focused on and understanding, like, they're the outcast, but they can be just as powerful when they come together. Like, that's what the story's about. And having someone like that leading Marvel or Disney during this time period, that would ruin everything.
Yeah. That's what I'm like. You thought Storm sucked before with Halle Berry, and she's a great actress, and that character still sucked. Man, let him be one of the leading guys that make decisions over there. And I'm afraid, like I get what certain people are saying, like, Disney has this paint by number, fill in the blank, like, diversity kind of chart, which is kind of, it is silly in a sense, but you got to give them at least a grain of salt for at least trying, rather it be very paint by numbers, which it is. It's literally like a chart of, you need to have this if you have this kind of thing, which is not how it's supposed to go. But the other end of it is, we just get rid of it altogether and go back to just all white, and then that's it.
We're gonna get sounds of the South. Songs for the South. We're gonna get stuff like that.
You get Uncle Ruckus. There you go. Like, that's the reputation you want. Like, because that's all that person like that knows. That's all he knows.
We'll have a movie called Fuck. Like, it's gonna.
Oh, he probably loved the new Good Times trailer.
Oh my god! He's like,
and yes, I am still angry about that.
Guys, that's kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I am a Disney stockholder. I'm kind of upset. I should have bought like in October when it was like super low. So the right before Iger came back. Because it was like $70, which was a fucking steal. You know, like it's like since like the early 90s, it's like the all-time low. It's back up, it's like 122, 123 or something like that. But they're saying like after in 2 days when this meeting happens and you find out who's on the board and not, they're saying depending on who wins, you know, the stock can jump up to like 150, 160, you know, like the next day.
It get dropped to 90.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, I think it's going to go up a little bit.
Kevin Feige quits, and then what happens then?
Yep. I'm gonna have my mouse on the like sell button as soon as like that happens. Yeah.
It's funny because they say look at his track record. Do you realize Kevin Feige's made $32 billion of movies?
He's
$32 billion.
The most successful producer in Hollywood history by a long shot. Like it's not even like it's like, oh well, this person's kind of close. Not even close. You know, it's like, what are you talking about? Record? Oh, the one record where, you know, Iger fucked up and put the wrong person in charge and it fucked up entire Disney. You know, it was like that's kind of a little bit his fault, but not really.
Record. It's once again, you let these 3 movies and the 3 movies with females and the 2 movies with black people come through.
Yeah,
like, come on. That's the record he's talking about. I was like, come on, these 5 movies, it's terrible. Don't worry about the billions of dollars they brought in. That's neither here nor there.
So for me, the deciding factor was not the deciding factor, but what was really interesting was George Lucas owns a shit ton of stock, and when he sold Lucasfilm and Star Wars, you know, he got a big chunk of stock. He's backing Bob Iger and his thing, which I was kind of like, really? Like, after everything you said about like what Disney did to your baby, you're still like, you know what? That's still the right call.
You know how bad it is. It could be.
Yeah,
like, I can hate somebody and then say, but that dude's a devil. So I'm gonna vote for the devil.
And you want to talk about movies with messages? Star Wars. You know, everyone's like, you know, favorite childhood movie, and still people are losing their minds. Talk about messages, you know, anti-fascist, war, racism, like all that stuff.
You're literally space Nazis.
Yes, exactly. Legit space Nazis. So, you know, but it's insane, man. So I've been watching that a lot, obviously.
I've been reading about, watching other stories, reading about it. I was like, man, so sorry, guys. I was not ignoring you guys on the chat. I want to say hi to everybody, but that was time I want to get off my chest. I had it there. I was just like, look, we have to talk about this because this is crazy. Because if the wrong person wins Disney, I want to boycott Disney, bro. Like I want to say, forget it. I can't spend my money on something that's that wrong.
Yeah, I just wish he wasn't. I wish he wasn't going for a board seat, because it'd be one thing if that's your company, but you know, like, yeah, you're a shitty person for saying that and representing your company in that way. But also, he's running for that seat. You know, because the other guy is the former CFO. He used to work for Disney. He was like second in charge of Disney at one point for a long time. You know, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to know why you want to get back on the board. You know, like, you know, I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me. But also, it's like you, like, I don't know.
Because it seems like they're his cronies, and that's what worries me too. You know, like if you are there because of him, then eventually bad stuff is going to come out of it. That's just what happens. You know, when bad people, good people are used to surround themselves with like-minded people, right? People that have bad takes and believe in bad things usually surround themselves with like-minded people. You know, you don't hear someone saying a racist idea that they're going to go sit down with Malcolm X. You know, like, you know, so to sit down with Malcolm, you know, they're not like-minded people. That's not what usually happens. So
yeah, but there's a third party, because you can vote for 3. You keep everything the same. Bob Iger's always gonna be charged, but they keep their own board. Then there's the Triad, which is Nelson Peltz, the racist guy we just talked about, and then there's a third party, and they want to replace 5 members out of I think out of a 9 board member out of board crew. I don't mind them as much. They seem to be more like, no, we actually want to make good content and this and that, but they're not even in the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even.
It's political. This whole thing is political, and that's why I'm talking
yeah.
about political type of thoughts
Yeah.
in it, and it's everything is being. They're going to use smoke and mirrors, but that's what really it boils down to.
Yeah.
Politics.
Well, that's why like there's the whole thing with Disney going on in Florida, you know, suing each other and losing the rights to all that because Disney pretty much were their own government down there, which was crazy. It was just insane. And Walt was a fucking genius for that. It was like, we're gonna buy a bunch of swampland and turn it into like the most magical place in the world. And well, they lost the rights and it was back and forth, but Disney wind up they settled, you know, like they kind of like, all right, you stop, we stop, we're all done, we'll move on, get it going. And I think Iger wanted to get that done before the meeting on Wednesday. So
that's gonna be a big meeting because on Thursday you'll know. Man, if I come on and we're gonna be this the first thing we'll talk about. Look, guys, I hear you. Give me 20 minutes to get on my soapbox.
it's gonna be interesting. And the really interesting part is it seems like it's gonna come down to the people like me who own, you know, a handful of shares. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the small investors that collectively together like decide, you know, and that's gonna be kind of interesting.
That's scary.
What happens.
That's scary.
You know,
honestly.